to Sew and Tell, where sewists from fashion, theater, and indie sewing bring their different perspectives to the hottest trends in the sewing community. I'm Meg Healy.
I'm Amanda Carestio.
And I'm Kate Zaynard.
Today on the podcast, we're going to talk about our favorite fashion trends for spring 2019. We'll check in with designer Tiffany Pratt about her take on trends and how they are fluid across fashion, beauty, and home decor. We'll each share what's inspiring us in our SewJo segment, and then we'll ask you to share something too. Before we get started, though, how's it sewing, guys?
Oh, I see what you did there.
I did it. I went there.
That's awesome. We should do that every time. It's sewing pretty well for me.
Yeah?
I finished the last of my gallery tunics, my flannel gallery tunics over the weekend, and so now I feel like I've scratched that itch and I'm ready to move on to something else.
Awesome.
Are you ready to move on to some hand sewing I might bring for you when I come next week?
Sure, why not?
I doing samples for when I come visit you guys filming, and I have this like hem to be hand sew, and I pinned it up like maybe Kate can do this. No, I'm just joking. I wouldn't do that.
I think you'll have to bribe her.
I have to tell you, Meg, my husband told me to tell you that it doesn't matter how much sewing it would get me, we're just not moving to Canada. So you're going to have to come here.
Oh, I can't. Maple syrup won't lure you here enough. No,
Oh, I do like maple syrup, though.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Well, we'll discuss it. We'll see what he
discuss.
has to say.
Yeah.
I'll bring
How
up
about
the
you,
maple
Amanda?
syrup.
I'm good. I finished up a few big projects, and now I'm kind of taking a break and waiting for inspiration to strike. So maybe something from the trends will from our trends discussion will get me on my way. And let's go ahead and jump in. I'd say that it's probably not a surprise to anybody here, but I tend to have mixed feelings about anything that's super trendy. But I know some folks are on the other end of the spectrum and are super into designer fashion trends, and that is great. I feel like either way, it's a good opportunity to try new things, experiment, step outside of your comfort zone, and just kind of be open to inspiration, even if not all the trends are for you all the time. So we each picked a few 2019 fashion trends to discuss. And first I want to say, when you're researching fashion trends, it's kind of hilarious because there are so many discrepancies. Mm-hmm. Some people will be like, ruffles, bigger, better, bolder, and some on the other end will say ruffles are completely out. So just want to say it's kind of not an exact science, I don't think, and it's definitely a matter of perspective.
See, this is why I just let Meg point me to one specific roundup, and I just assume that is the definitive roundup, and I just go with that.
No, definitely not. Yeah. I just like ones where I get some examples. So usually I always go with Vogue's Trend Roundup is really great because they give specifics of each trend from several designers, because you can't just say that this is a trend if one designer does it, because they could just really like ruffles or tie-dye, but you need at least several or even more. Okay, funny story. One time when I was in fashion school, I thought several meant 7, and so they said bring several fashion sketches of something, and then I brought 7 because never mind, that just reminded me. Just tied it all in together because I said several or more. Okay, anyways, guys, we already decided it's this kind of day today, but yeah, I need examples. Different designers doing the trend.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump in, and it will be no surprise my favorite picks from the list, but I'll kick it off, and I'm really happy to see that wide leg pants are sticking around, and in particular, wide leg jeans. You know, I was doing a little bit of research about kind of denim trends and jeans trends, and what I was reading, it was like kind of unprecedented that all of these different kinds of jeans are all kind of popular at the same time. Like, I think, you know, there are some that kind of catch fire and then kind of cool off, but like there's a lot of different kinds of jeans out there. It's not just all skinny jeans anymore, which makes me really happy.
Yeah, I do not have the proper shape for skinny jeans, so they are absolutely not my thing. So I'm very happy about wider leg pants being in style because I never wore the skinny ones anyway.
Yeah, right. So, really hot in the indie sewing community, Lander pants, the Persephone pants, and also kind of in with this trend is also kind of like a resurgence of cargo pants. And of course, there are the Bryce cargos by Hey June Handmade, which are awesome. So lots of ways you can jump on that trend if you want to.
And I love the cropped, like the slightly cropped wide leg.
Exactly.
I love that. Like, show off your shoes. Like, because the thing with me is that wide leg pants, and if they go to the floor, I have to wear like heels. And some days I just don't want to wear heels, but I love the cropped. And you show off the shoes, a little sock action there. I love it.
Sock action.
Nice.
Yes. Okay, so now it's time for me to talk about one of the trends that I'm actually iffy on this one. It's called California Dreaming, and it's lots of tie-dye and kind of wetsuit scuba gear turned runway. I like aspects of it. I hate tie-dye. I just don't like tie-dye, but I love a good wetsuit neoprene bathing suit look.
Oh my God,
So-
Meg, that's hilarious. Because when I was sitting and looking at that particular set, all I could think was, I can handle the tie-dyed stuff, but the whole wetsuit look is just not my thing.
And I thought you were totally going to be into the tie-dye. I was like, neon green tie-dye. It's going to happen. But no.
No, I'm not a tie-dye girl. Yeah. So
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of a hard thing to wear, but I like it, and I like that it's kind of freeform, and it's like nothing exemplifies summer and kind of carefree spirit better than tie-dye. So I like the idea of it. I don't wear it very much.
And see, that's what I think I don't like about the wetsuit part, because it's fine for keeping you warm when you're actually like snorkeling or something, but and you're just walking around outside. It's like, why am I wearing this? It's so hot. So
yeah.
all right. Well, the first one I picked to talk about is the current lace trend that's going on, which is apparently a little bit different than sort of the traditional, very feminine look. There's a lot of piecing and block work done with it, and they've been kind of styling it up in menswear and sporty styles. I saw one that was sort of a very traditional lace shirt, but it had like a stripy rib knit neckband and armbands, which made it look very athletic, and it was very interesting. And I kind of like it. I don't know. I like lace, but I like seeing something a little different done with it, something more unique.
Yeah, I like this trend too. I like the boxy cut of lace mixed with sporty elements. I like that cross between the two, because I'm not one to like wear like a pretty lace like dress. I think they call it in the trend, like this is the trend for wearing lace for ladies who don't lunch. Like you think of like white gloves and like the lace and all that stuff.
But way too feminine for me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's feminine, but it's feminine with an edge.
Yeah.
And I like it.
Yeah,
I'd be open to it.
I'm into it. Yes.
All right, next up, Robe Coats. And I picked this one because I'm not really that into fitted coats. And I feel like most sewists have already sewn something that ended up looking robe-like. And maybe you didn't wear it because of that, but now you can take it out and wear it with pride. I have a couple of these, like an Esme cardigan. It's a long cardigan with like a big neckband and looks totally roby. And I felt weird about that at first, but now I'm just gonna say I was way ahead of the trend and just roll with it. But I think for this trend, look for an open coat or one that has a tie closure. You're looking for something that has a big deep shawl collar, and also something that's pretty roomy. These aren't super fitted. So yeah.
Yeah, Robe Coat has been on my to make list for a really long time now.
Yeah.
I'm definitely here for it. Looks so like it's very chic. It's like effortless chic. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, I like it.
I'm sure on you it would be effortless chic. On me it would look like I was wearing a bathrobe. But I'm not sure
It's a fine line. It is a fine line, you guys.
I think the fabric is key. You gotta pick the fabric.
for sure.
It needs to be
Nothing like-
really a nice drape to it.
Right.
Yeah.
But nothing too fluffy or like absorbent looking.
Nothing. Don't do terry cloth. Whatever you do, just don't do terry cloth.
Just don't do terry cloth. Oh, jeez. Okay, so next one is a controversial trend. I am all here for it. I am going to rock it this summer. If I pull it off or not, I'm going to post a picture and you guys can tell me, but it's the fashion bike shorts. And this is really on trend now with like the Kardashians. Like Kim just rocks this trend to a T, and you can kind of see it on the runway paired with blazers and kind of heels and kind of dressed up a bit, but it's like a fashion long bike short.
Yeah, so as I'm sitting there looking at the pictures of the, on the runway, they look very nice on the runways, on the models. I don't think that that's something that would look good on me. Nor I kind of got over that whole skin tight pants thing when I was in like junior high. So I think I would go to skip that one. But more power to anyone who wants to try it out. Because if it speaks to you, then more power to you. It does not speak to me.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but I definitely won't wear it. I appreciate it. It's kind of, I think it lends itself to some unique silhouettes, with something kind of flowy and open, and then you've got, paired with something that's really slim fit and that's interesting, but yeah, probably not going to wear it.
I think my key is I just need to wear it with something that like covers my butt. Right. That's the main thing, because there's nothing like a hideous like fashion faux pas than leggings with like a short shirt. Like if you're not like in every day, like if you're going to the gym, that's fine. But so I'm just need to find a really killer outfit. I'm thinking like even like open toe heels with like neon socks too. Like I'm going to take it there. So really excited to style this one, guys.
I'm excited for you.
So just leave that there.
Okay. The one that I saw that I was actually really excited about is there's a certain style of trim trend going on, where it's generally there are two elements to it. One of them are little wispy thin feathers in really big poofy amounts. Either at the hems or on the bodices, and those are fun and everything. But the one that really got me excited was the fringe. You guys, I love fringe. This might be where my love of the 20s comes from.
I was just thinking that. I was just,
or it's the other way around. It could be that I love the 20s because I love fringe, or I love fringe because I love the 20s. It doesn't matter. I love fringe. And these are such cool looks with like fringe on the sleeves, and like somebody had this like little capelet, but then the fringe itself was like a yard long, so it was hanging down next to her calves. And it was so cool. It was so much fun. And I really need to figure out some way I can work that one into my sewing, because man, I'd love an excuse to put a whole bunch of fringe all over my clothing.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Fringe? Yay day?
I'm so on the yay fringe train. Love it.
I'm a maybe. I have kind of been pining over like a fringy bag. Because I think that's a nice way to bring in the trend without actually wearing it. But yeah, I don't know. Undecided.
All right. That's fair.
All right. Next up, one that of course I was excited about. Beige is going to be a big player this spring. Beige, woohoo!
Oh my gosh.
I kind of love it. But it's also kind of tied in with sustainable sewing becoming a trend and sustainable fashion. So beige and black are big players in that, largely because they're neutrals, they're easy to wear. You can kind of get the most out of garments in those tones, because you can mix and match them. They're really practical, which just makes me so super happy. And I think sustainable sewing is something that sewists have kind of been hip to for a while, sustainable fashion. And we actually have a new series in Sew News in our first issue of the year, and it's goes in depth and talks about sustainable fabric selection, but also pattern selection. So picking things that you're going to love, you're going to wear a lot, and they're going to last a long time. So this trend just notches all my boxes. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, that's cool. I hadn't thought about that as a sustainable element because of the color versatility, but that's cool. I might dip my toe into this, but beige is not really my thing, and I'm definitely not going head to toe beige, which seemed to be part of the trend element there.
Yeah.
But I might look into a little bit of beige here and there.
Yeah, I can't pull off beige too well. It just kind of looks like I'm naked if I'd be wearing head to toe beige. So I don't know. Probably not going to, as now I'm looking over at my cutting table and see a bunch of beige twill. So I forgot that I brought one of my samples, but the other one's green. So we'll see. Oh,
okay, so maybe
my eyes just wandered.
Maybe
Yeah,
not
so-
head to toe, but
Maybe not
Not head to toe.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. All right. So speaking of not head to toe beige, we're talking about fruity suiting. So this is full on suits in pink and green and everything in between. And I am so here for it. The Gucci green suit that's featured in the Vogue article, I adore it. I love it.
Well, it is green.
Yes, I know. It's shocker.
I mean, again, it's a trend that I can appreciate, but I can't see myself wearing it. Like, I don't even know where I would wear that. Where do you wear that?
Well, see, and that's the thing, like, I love this trend. I don't know. There's something about that range of colors, and I'm just like, ooh, pretty. But I don't wear suits. So probably not something I'm actually going to dabble in, but I love looking at it.
Yeah, we were talking about the suit that Julian's going to wear to the wedding, and he wants to wear a pink suit.
Wow.
I love Julian.
I know, and it was so funny. His family's like, "Oh my gosh," and I was like, "I don't care. You do it if you want." So we're dabbling in some. Maybe there could be a menswear fruity suits.
I love it.
So the answer is you wear that to a wedding.
Yes, to Meg's wedding.
Exactly.
Yes.
To my wedding.
Exactly.
Yes.
Meg's wedding.
All right, and I'm just going to touch on one more really quickly because I think we're running up against our time limit here. Hats. Hats are really big, apparently. Very specific kind. Big hats, wide brims. I saw some of them with some tulle over them to make kind of a veil sort of look. I don't know about the veil-y thing. That seems a little high fashion for me. But you guys, I look really good in hats. So I'm like super excited that this is something that I'm like, ooh, I can wear a hat, be cute, and be on trend. Yay!
I love hats too. I feel like I have bangs, and that makes wearing hats difficult. Like, unless you wear it like really far back on your head, it's kind of problematic, but I love hats.
I like hats too, but I've gotten more into the fascinator side of hats. I've been wearing my fair share of fascinators
Awesome.
to recent weddings that I'm going to.
Fascinators are great. These are not fascinators, this new trend.
I know they're not, but
fascinators are also great, and, you know, who doesn't love a good fascinator?
Yeah. Little hat.
Little hat.
All right. Well, you heard our take on a few fashion trends for 2019, and we want to hear what you think. We are going to share some of our resources and links to roundups that we've done on So Daily and Berta Style in the show notes page. So take a look there if you'd like to read and see more on the trends.
Yeah, if you want to know what a fruity suit actually looks like, this is where you want to go.
Exactly. Head to the show notes page.
I had the absolute pleasure of chatting with Tiffany Pratt recently, and we talked about everything from fashion bike shorts to Marie Kondo's way of folding and tidying. Tiffany is well known here in Canada for her trademark pink hair, big energy, and hands-on approach to joyous home decor style and fashion. She's a frequent guest and host on Canada's Home and Garden TV network, as well as many lifestyle show appearances, sharing her passion for transformation. Tiffany is also a brand ambassador for Bernina's 4 Series sewing machine, so special shout out to them for helping us connect with her. Hope you enjoy our chat. I'm sitting down here with Tiffany Pratt, and yay! And I'm so glad you agreed to talk with me. I'm really excited.
Aw, you're sweet.
To talk
Thank you
with
for wanting
today.
to talk to me. I mean,
Oh,
geez,
yeah.
it's a two-way street, sister.
All right, so I'm here in Canada, and so I really know you from TV, HGTV, and City Line. My mom would always, when I was at home, my mom would always yell, "Meg, the lady with the pink hair's on," and I would always come. I love your style and everything. But here at Sew and Tell, we're kind of a sewing podcast. So I just want to know your sewing journey and what made you want to start to sew and learn and everything like that.
I was convinced when I was a kid. By the way, I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for watching, and thank you for being interested in what I was wearing and all the things on the show. It's always been important to me to be myself, on camera and off camera, so that people who maybe weren't as normal felt represented in the entertainment world. So that's something that so I'm grateful that you were. So thank you for that, and thank you for having me. I began my childhood journey, when you're in 5th grade and the teacher asks you what you want to do for a living, like what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
I was convinced I was going to be a fashion designer. So I was like, well, I'm just going to be a fashion designer, and I'm going to have a car driving me around, and I'm going to be going to all the fashion shows. So I had a long time love for fashion, and it started at a really young age. And that's really where the creativity do you remember the fashion plates? Those little pink plastic plates. This is a toy of the 80s, so you may not know it, but Google it when we're done.
I'm totally going to Google that.
Shout out to the peoples who know what I'm talking about.
Oh, wait, the plates that you interchange, and they're like the slates, the square slates that totally had one. Yes, I did. Yes.
So
okay, now I know what you're talking about.
I had the fashion plates. I changed my clothes 3 times a day. Like, I was always into clothes and fashion. And before I could sew, I would make requests. My mother had a sewing machine, and my mom was not an amazing sewer, but she always put together our Halloween costumes and little small things. And I was convinced I needed white walking shorts for everything. So I was already creating clothes that I wanted to wear when I was a kid. So by the time high school came around and we had choices of what we could take, I took the fashion arts course. And of course, it was years of sewing. So we would learn the sewing machine and all the different stitches and all the different techniques of how to reinforce things and cut, So I took fashion arts for a few years and made all sorts of weird things and dresses and skirts and bags and I loved it. So I didn't think that I wasn't going to be a fashion designer. I was always pretty convinced that that's what I would do. So I never even sketched garments per se after that. I sketched some, but then it turned into painting. And so I took a lot of my painting and artwork and sculptures to FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology in New York. And when I was there, convinced that they were just going to accept me on the spot as a fashion designer, they said, no, like you're definitely a textile and surface designer. You're not a fashion designer. You have 0 technical skills. So I was very honored when Bernina had told me about the new machine that they were developing for people like myself who do sew, but we're not super technical. So that was a match made in heaven.
Yeah, and I love the quote that you have. It's, you don't need to have a world of skill behind you to create something beautiful. And I think that's so true, because I know even friends that I'm teaching how to sew recently, they're not so concerned with like really the technical things and if it's properly reinforced. It's just, they just want this idea of this silhouette and this fabric. And I don't really care if it's, perfectly sewn. I just want to express my style.
Well, I think that the idea for me with sewing was always like, it was like a really classy adhesive.
Yeah.
Like instead of gluing the edge of the hem, I would sew it. And and even when I'm working with papers and paper products, I would sew them. And I made a joke when I was in Switzerland, actually. I'm like, guys, this is just a really classy adhesive. And they all thought that was the funniest thing in the world. But like,
a classy adhesive.
This is just a classy adhesive. But the truth is that I do, like, I would go to Value Village, and I know people who aren't from Canada. Value Village is a place where people would be buying reused clothes. But I would, even as like a kid in high school, I was buying things at Value Village, and I was upcycling them and changing them and ripping the sleeves off, changing the length of things, adding stuff to them. So that's always my style of sewing. And I just use it as a means of getting where I want to get, minus it being perfect, minus the technical skills, minus knowing all the ins and outs. I have great love and respect for people that can do it in such a perfect way. I'm not going to say I don't have patience, but I am going to say I'm such a mad creator that to me it's just like, okay, let's go. So
yeah,
yes,
totally. So the theme of this episode is about kind of trends, and I was researching some trends in sort of this coming into the spring, summer. I know it's crazy to even think about this today. I think it's even minus like 5 out today in Toronto. I haven't even been outside yet today. I need to go get a zipper after this, so I'll brave the cold. But
where do you buy your zippers?
I go to the leather sewing supply depot in Spadina. Yeah, that's my favorite place. Shout out to them. So I was just wondering, I know for you, I see you a lot in kind of the home decor spec of things, and I was wondering the translation of trends. Is it fluid in between fashion and home decor, do you find?
Yep.
What's your perspective on that?
I think that design and fashion and art and home design and makeup and shoes and bags, it's the same thing. I think that we often think that there's such a very strong delineation in style, but the truth is, you know, if I'm seeing something on the runway, a variation of that will be occurring in the home, is going to be occurring on the face palette, it's going to be occurring in accessories. I learned that a long time ago because I did start my work in fashion. I was getting fashion magazines, and then I remember getting the first Domino magazine 13 years ago. And Domino used to have, in the early days of their magazine, they would do this spread, and I don't know if you remember it, but they would say, let's turn this outfit into a room.
Oh!
So they would do this very cool thing where they would take something that's
so cool.
hot on the runway, and then they would turn it into a room. And so that was the early days of Domino already saying, hey, you know what? We know that fashion is fashion, regardless if it's home fashion or if it's, you know, clothing fashion. And you'll also see, too, with some of the fabric designers, you know, it's not often in my world that, you know, an interior designer will think of fashion, but I always do because I love fabric. And so often when I'm searching for fabrics for a client for a pillow or a drape or something in their home, I'm like, oh my God, but this would be an amazing dress. You know, or this could be an incredible skirt, or could you imagine this as a jacket?
Yeah.
So there is such a fine line, and I think it just depends on how open you are to, you know, bridging the gap. Yeah.
Yeah, and the home can just be really a reflection of your personal style. And I know for me, my favorite color is lime green, and now
you don't say with your lime green. I just want to I want to tell everyone that cannot see you right now that she's wearing a lime green turtleneck.
Oh,
so
I'm sure my listeners, would.
They're like, oh, of course she's wearing a lime green
Even my engagement
turtleneck.
ring is lime green.
Is it a peridot?
It is. Yeah, I'm showing her kind of on camera.
The peridot is my birthstone because I'm a Leo.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
So I have a peridot. My mom has a peridot ring that I will be getting one day. So
I know he did good, but everything is now. I realized that someone was over and they're like, Meg, everything in your kitchen is lime green. I can't buy the lime, like the non-lime green spatula if there's one, and
100%.
And now my fiance Julian's like, it might be getting a little out of hand, but I'm just, now I look at you and all your design work and I'm like, psh, if it brings you joy, then yes. Have you been watching that Netflix tidying up that everyone's watching right now?
No.
Have you heard of it? It's this way of tidying, and you go through everything and you hold everything in your hand, and if it doesn't bring you joy,
this is the Marie Kondo's. Yes, Marie Kondo's Magical Art of Time.
I was not familiar with her before I started watching.
She's been around for a while, and she comes from the Japanese culture of, you know, we don't need a lot, we only need what serves us. And that cultural belief is something that she puts towards. She trains people all over the world to do her tidying up technique. And I had one of her tidying up technique people to my house about 3 years ago. And,
no way.
Yeah, and it was really interesting, like the way they fold, and everything has to be fit in confined spaces, and you only have what you need. And it's very energetic, actually, and that's very much how I work, which is, if I don't love this, if this is not serving me.
Yes.
And this goes for everything, not just stuff in the home. This goes for garments, because as women, we're so attached to our garments because we may have worn a skirt or a dress or a coat to something that's a place where we a wedding or something that was really significant to us. And then we can't get rid of it because we're like, oh, but that dress I wore to that wedding. And like, it made me feel this way. So it's all about being surrounded by, and I don't care what it is that you're doing. If you are in fashion or making or DIYing or home decor, you know, the home should serve you and fill you up inside from your heart, from your spirit. It's not about just having what's in all the latest magazines. Yeah.
And going back to one of our hosts on our podcast doesn't follow trends, and that's okay. But what's your, I know because you have such a kind of a vibrancy about you. Do you keep up on all of the trends and do you embrace them, or you ignore them and just do you, or I don't know.
I think it, you know, the truth is I've always been a proponent of just do you. But not in the, you know, just do you, girl. No, in the way of I think that we all have a different ideal of how we believe this life should be led, and that a lot of it happens in the home. And am I aware of style? Am I aware of trends? Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge part of my life. You know, some things I love and some things I don't love, and I think that being aware of the trends is cool because then you can adapt some of the elements and philosophies into how you live and what you're doing now. But also, too, you can understand what is yours and what isn't yours. Because often I think personal style is what develops as trends come in. Because you can be like, oh, I've loved that forever. Or I have a bunch of those. Or, oh my God, I would have never thought of putting leopard with that. So I think trends sort of enrich our style experience. But I don't necessarily think that trends should dictate how we design in its entirety, not only in our homes, but on our bodies. Yeah.
Totally. And I have to ask you, since I think you mentioned in your sewing journey, you always like to sew and wear like white walking shorts. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a trend and I'm kind of all for it. And it's the bike short kind of fashion trend, wearing like cycling shorts with like heels and a blazer. And that's one of like Vogue spotted. It's one of the definitive trends of spring. So are you into the cycling short fashion trend?
You know, I'm going to lean this on because I come from fashion. I know body types, right?
Right.
So I know what looks good on some people and what doesn't look good on some people. And I know what will look great on me and what just will not fly. And I actually, early days of my life, I love spinning. I'm actually going spinning tonight for the first time in a year. But I used to be a spin instructor.
No way.
Yes, and I loved it. So I have worn my fair share of bike shorts. And I always had the one with the big padded butt because you'd be sitting on that seat for so long. So, sister, what I'm trying to tell you is I love myself a good bike short. I love pushing the envelope and wearing things that don't. It's the so bad it's good philosophy.
Right.
But for me in bike shorts, it's a no-go. The way I'm shaped right now and my history with bike shorts, I'm going to say no to the bike shorts for me. But I can also appreciate why they're there because sometimes I see some fashion and I think, God, I hope that person's wearing like huge underwear under that or something because
totally.
It's just sometimes I'm such a functional fashion person. I love when things look great, but I can hustle in them or I can move in them or I can climb a ladder in them. I love looking good, but not at the price of being able to function in my life or be cold or not crawl on the floor. I've become very utilitarian with my fashion. And I still love like a beautiful pop piece or, throwing a, designer scarf with something, but not necessarily head to toe stilettos. I give you all the credit in the world for wearing the damn bike shorts is what I'm trying to say.
I know. I made some a couple months ago, but I haven't like worn them like out in like the streets, like not to the gym yet. So I think I'm gonna try and rock that trend this year.
You're gonna have to send me pics.
Yeah, I will.
I want
I'll try. And so just before we wrap up, I just want to briefly touch on your canvas collection.
Thank you.
This was so cool. And I know when I first was looking at it, I know people in the sewing world, we were talking about this in one of our bonus episodes, is it looks kind of like a muslin fitting that we would do to test out a pattern. I love how you've taken it and that's what it is.
It was born of you know, it's so funny how it was born. It was born of utility. Delta Faucets Canada, is a faucet company, had hired me to host an event. And the philosophy behind the event was life is messy and Delta Faucets is going to help you clean it up. And so I had this vision that the whole night would be white and that we would paint things. And then there was a series of sinks and we would all wash our hands. And so all I kept thinking of was, what am I going to wear that's white that I don't mind getting messed up? So I found this dress, and it was in an old 1960s Vogue, and it had like a very tall box collar, and it was just the plain, you know, you saw the trapeze silhouette with 3/4 length sleeves. And I found some really high grade, and this was before Designer Fabrics went under. I went to Designer Fabrics and bought some really high grade canvas, and I had my friend who sews just whip this up for me fast. I was like, he drafted a quick pattern because I could not find the pattern anywhere. So we drafted a quick pattern, threw it together. I wore it that night, and the event was secondary to the amount of people that stopped me about this dress, because it had big pockets in the front. And a lot of people that attended were designers and makers themselves. So again, I just kept wearing it. Every time I would go to do an install or something, I just wore the dress. And consequently, I racked up like a list of about 20 people that all said, if you sell these, I will buy them.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So I started to blow it up. Like, I originally started with just the dress with the tall box collar, and then I did a vest, which goes on top of everything. And then I did a small tunic, and then I've expanded it from there. But it was really just born of, I have brightly colored hair. I love being able to accessorize. I love the modest material of canvas. I love how it falls on the body because it's a little bit more firm. I think it makes everyone look good. When it's done and it's pressed and it's on you, it looks so polished and sort of very Japanese. And there's also something really, really beautiful that you look like, it's elegant while you're hustling, you know? And florists and restaurant owners and waiters and potters and, you know, artists and knitters, everyone's scooping them up. So it was cool.
Yeah. I love looking at the hashtag associated with it, because you can see how different people utilize it. Just and artists especially, you know, kind of the paint speckles that that's, you know, happens when you paint. I'm sure if I ever painted, it would just be a complete mess.
I have so many of them over the years. Obviously, I've collected my own big collection of them from doing samples of stuff and trying them out. But I would say, you know, of the maybe 20 I have in my closet, 10 of them are completely totaled with spray paint and glue and glitter and stuff that's stuck on them. But that was the idea of the collection, was that I wanted people to show their lives and their work on their clothes and not be afraid to wipe their hands on their clothes and keep going and stuff your pockets full of whatever. And it worked. I mean, I still have dreams of it being on a larger scale, but, you know, I've got so much happening. It was sort of one of those things where I thought, something's got to go. And I found X amount of imported, beautiful, organic, pre-washed canvas cotton from India. So I bought a whole bunch of those rolls, and I think I'm on my last big roll of those. So I'm like, ooh, what's next? So, but yeah, thank you for that. And I have loved the canvas collection. It has very much been a part of my heart. It's like a pet project for me.
And speaking of pet projects, you have a podcast as well.
I do. I feel, isn't it so cute, all these podcasts? We're all doing these podcasts.
I know. Yes.
I did I usually do, and I've only, because of my work, I've done lots of talks. And I've gone to universities and talked to design students and across the country now with the home shows, talking about home decor, and consequently, you know, businesses need to talk about design and art, entrepreneurship. All the topics are vast. And one of the ladies, here I go talking about Delta Faucets again, but the lady who runs Delta Faucets Canada had come to one of my talks, and she just felt very compelled that this was a message that we all could benefit from outside of just talking about interior design, that I really wanted to open it up and talk about love and why we love what we do, and all the different people in the world that do different things but bring love to their work. Because I think that's a big piece that we don't always talk about, which is, you know, really loving what we do and why we do what we do. Sometimes we go on autopilot and we're unconscious about it, and I just wanted there to be a little bit of a consciousness around the choices of who we are and why we do what we do, and just support, because I do feel like the world needs to feel like they're very supported, and regardless of what element of life you want to dabble in, I wanted the podcast to feel like a big warm hug. So
I love it. So thanks so much for talking with me here today. It was just fabulous chatting
fabulous
with you.
To chat with you too. And I'm so this is such a very cute podcast name. Sew and Tell is the cutest thing. That's so cute. It's truly it's brilliant. As is your love for lime green and all of it. I'm so pleased to meet your acquaintance and to have had this time. And thank you for everything. Thanks for wanting to have me here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Come back anytime. And everyone, check Tiffany out. Just where can people find you?
TiffanyPratt.com is my website, and my handle across all social platforms is @the Tiffany Pratt.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Sending everybody love.
Oh my gosh, what a fun interview.
It was so much fun talking
Tiffany's
with
so
her.
much fun. Yeah. She sounds like such a joy to talk to.
I just kind of want to be her friend, just
oh
in
my
real
gosh,
life.
I know.
She's so gracious and kind, and I love what she had to say about just kind of representing, being on TV and representing somebody who's just fully their self. And
I know.
I love that.
Yeah, that's why I really connected to her. And just a fun note, when we did our interview, so we could see each other over Skype, and she had her little dog in her lap the whole time. And obviously I had to show her Bunny.
Oh, of course.
And so we were chatting about that after. So
that's
awesome. It was really great. Yeah.
Well, I love what she had to say about trends and enriching your style experience instead of dictating them. I thought that was perfect. The perfect way to look at trends and the perfect way to incorporate them into what you do with your life and your sewing.
I love that. And I mean, even the concept that trends are fluid across fashion and home decor and beauty, that was kind of a new concept for me.
Yeah, that was fascinating.
It was really interesting, and it mostly just made me feel guilty. I was like, I need to spend some time putting some energy into my home decor, because this, in the same way that you build out your garments and your style and your wardrobe, thinking about how you can bring that into your home is, really good inspiration point.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you turn a fruity suit into a room?
I think that's a total room. That's a room waiting to happen.
That actually sounds really doable.
That sounds like a room I want to live in, for sure.
Sorry, guys. Apparently, I'm obsessed with the fruity suits.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started with our SewJo. For anyone who doesn't know, our SewJo is the thing that's inspiring us, that's giving us our sewing mojo this week. So, hey, Amanda, what's your SewJo?
Well, as I mentioned, I just finished making 2 pairs of jeans and finished up a coat that has been a work in progress, just sitting in a corner in my sewing space for over a year. I finished it up this weekend.
Yay, congratulations.
Thanks.
Yes, I saw that you posted it. I love
Thanks
it. I love
so much. It was a journey. But so now I'm taking a little bit of pause and thinking about what I want to hop into next. We'll see how long that pause lasts. But I have been really inspired by a challenge that's happening right now on Instagram. And it's kind of an informal challenge that's just super fun. And I think if you love fruity suiting, you will love this challenge, because it is #DressLikeACrayon. And it's all these people dressing in head to toe single color. And, I'm pretty sure I could do black and taupe
Beige.
and beige.
Beige.
But maybe a couple of other things, just thinking about, making a bold statement in a solid color, and also like different tones of colors and how those can maybe work together in interesting ways. So What Katie Sews started the challenge, and it's really kind of taken off, and there have been some great outfits.
That is so cool. So cool.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. I had a SewJo, but now I'm just changing mine to Dress Like a Crayon.
I think that's allowed.
Oh, that sounds like now I even forget mine. No, I had mine in mind. So my SewJo is, I sent you guys a little screenshot of it, but I'm really getting on this planning out my mashups, and so I'm going to sew my top. I'm starting with the top for my wardrobe plan of my mashups for 2019. So yeah, we're gonna work on that top this week. So
Nice.
yeah.
Awesome.
Love some planning.
Okay, you guys, here's my SewJo. I am now officially committed to making my very first coat. I have purchased the fabric. It is the Berta Style number 112 from December 2018, the one that I keep talking about how much I love. And I got a lovely tweed fleece double-backed coating, which should be here in a few days. And I am very excited. And on top of that, I sort of started thinking about my trip. I'm taking a trip to Vienna, for anybody who doesn't know, which I think is probably everybody, next fall. And I was thinking about how this coat would be perfect for a Vienna overwear piece. And then I started thinking about, well, what else am I going to wear to Vienna? And at this point, I've started conceiving a whole travel wardrobe around this trip. I know. And here's me. I never plan anything. I don't do capsule wardrobes.
Go for it.
And all of a sudden, here I am. I've even started sketching. I've got a color palette figured out. I've got a whole bunch of patterns that I've sort of narrowed it down to. And so, yeah, I'm multiple excited about my coat and my Vienna plan. So, yeah, that's my SewJo.
I feel like I've been an influence on you guys, whether it's bad or good.
I know. We're both
You guys are on the
now.
planning train now. Love it.
We're all aboard.
All aboard.
Yeah.
Though I do think that's kind of funny because your SewJo was your capsule wardrobe, Meg, and yours involved that coat, and mine involves both. So we're all on the same.
We're getting synced up.
Yeah,
We're all on the same train.
on the same train.
Where are we going? I don't know.
I don't know.
Where are we going, and why are we in this handbasket? Okay, so next is time for our Sew and Tell segment, where we asked you a question and we got some answers back from you. Last time we asked, what are your tried and true patterns? Because we were talking about tried and true patterns at the time. And we got a couple of really good answers on Instagram. So we're going to read those. I'm going to start, and I'm going to read one from S is for Sew.
Hi, Courtney.
Hi, Courtney. I don't know Courtney, but hi, Courtney. So Courtney says, whether a garment fits well out of packet or I put the work into making it fit right, if I enjoy the construction process, I'll make it over and over. I have multiples of the Ally sweatshirt by Sew DIY, the Jessica dress by Mimi G Style, the Lander pants by True Bias, the Sunny dress and top by Friday Pattern Company. And the most recent breakout TNT patterns of 2019 are the Dawn jeans by Megan Nielsen Patterns and the Sareste shirt dress from Breaking the Pattern, editorial note, that's a book, by Named Clothing. I've even listened to this episode of the podcast 3 times, which this is why I had to read this one.
I haven't even done that.
I think technically I maybe have, but yes, what a compliment. Wow. Thanks so much for saying that.
And kudos for all those TNT patterns. That's a lot of sewing. That's awesome.
For sure.
All right, next up on Instagram, we heard from Cookin' and Craftin'. Shout out to Meg. Hey there. I just made the Nini for the 3rd time yesterday, so I think it's a TNT for me too. Also, Cashmerette Concord, Liesl & Company classic shirt, and the Sew House 7 toaster sweater. Oh, those are so good. I actually haven't made a toaster sweater yet. Are you guys familiar?
What's a toaster sweater? I was just looking at that. It's very intriguing.
It's a pattern by Sew House 7, and there are 2 versions. One is a raglan sleeve, kind of sweatshirt style, but it has a high neckline. It's like kind of a cowl neck, but a little bit smaller. And then there's another one that has a really interesting kind of a boat neck, turtleneck, and then it's got, I believe, it doesn't have a band at the bottom, so it looks less like a sweatshirt. And I think it's got a split hem, but they're both just like great basics for winter and super popular. There's even a hashtag Toaster Tuesday thing going on for people who have made a whole bunch. Of course there is, and of course I know about it.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
So I'm going to read one from Instagram at threadcom. Made by Ray Washi Dress. I have it with the neckline scoop, without the neckline scoop, and a navy one with piping on the neckline and sleeves. I also made one with an eyelet fabric and rayon underlining in a double-sided dress one, which took 4.5 hours, including the fabric shopping. It was for a wear white party, and I knew I wouldn't wear all white that night, so I changed halfway through. I haven't made one in a while, but I'm going to try one of the expansion pack options soon.
That is a pattern that's kind of one of those first beloved indie sewing patterns, and people just love that washi dress. And I love it. It's kind of like the Lander pants. There's an expansion pack. So you've made it a bazillion times, and then you get the expansion pack, and there are all these different design options that you can try and make new looks and really kind of keep it going. I love that.
Love it. Yeah, I love the idea of an expansion pack. And I've always wanted to go to a wear white party. It just seems so classy.
I love the idea of doing a reversible one so that you can change up your look halfway through the day if you wanted to.
Brilliant.
And I mean, wearing all white's very dangerous, especially for clumsy me.
Seriously.
I would have red wine over it in 5 minutes. So.
All white and maybe a poncho on top. That would be my approach.
Exactly.
Oh, so this episode's question is, what is your favorite spring trend, and will you sew it?
So, let us know about that. If you hang on for a little bit, we'll tell you how to get a hold of us, but you can definitely check us out on Instagram or email us. Stay tuned for all that information. But before we get into that, we do have a favor to ask you. We have created a survey to get a better idea of who's listening to us, what's working for us, and what you'd like to hear more of. So we'd love it if you'd help us by taking a couple minutes to fill it out. We'll post a link on our show notes page, and we'll also put it on our Instagram, which is at SewandTellPod. Plus, we'll link to it on all of our associated Facebook pages. We don't have one for the podcast at the moment, but look for the link on the Berta Style, Sew Daily, Sew News, and Creative Machine Embroidery Facebook pages. And as a special thank you for taking the survey, you'll receive a free Berta Style pattern after you submit. Hey, Meg, what did we decide we're going to go with?
It is going to be a pleated skirt. So pleats in the front and no pleats in the back.
Yeah,
so
it's really
cute.
pretty.
It's like a nice.
Very versatile.
really
we
nice.
think you'll like it. So the survey will be open through February 21st, 2019. So check it out. Give us your answers. Let us know what you think. In the meantime, thanks for listening, everybody. And thanks for chatting with me, Amanda and Meg.
Absolutely.
That was fun.
As always.
Yes.
Happy stitching to
Happy
everybody at home.
stitching. Have fun with the trends.
Yes, gonna go get my bike shorts on.
For links to everything we talked about in this episode, go to our show notes page at sewdaily.com/sewandtell. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at sewandtellpodcast@fwmedia.com or visit us on Instagram at sewandtellpod. Answer the Sew and Tell question, tell us your SewJo, or just leave us some feedback. If you enjoyed our show, please subscribe on your podcasting platform of choice. And please leave us a review, ideally a good one, because that helps listeners like you find our podcast. And tell your sewing friends about us too. Thanks for listening, and happy stitching. Sew and Tell is a production of F&W Media Studios and is produced and hosted by Meg Healy, Amanda Carestio, and me, Kate Zaynard. Our audio engineer and editor is Evan Rutherford, and our executive producer is Jared Mayer.